Hey guys, so today you and I are going to talk about doing things over and what I would do if I could. So let's get into it. So the question in question was pretty much, Frederick, if you could go back to before you became a programmer and do it all over again, what would you change? And the short answer is not much, with one exception, and that is that I should have spent more time reading other people's code. Let me explain. So something, at least what I can see, that usually happens to developers who start getting into more serious forms of programming is that they focus quite a lot, and I did this as well. I've focused a lot on the different practices that exist. Basically, I spent so much time learning different tools and different techniques and patterns and things like that. And I mean, it wasn't all bad, because even though I very quickly realized that not all of this is going to be relevant in my day-to-day job, I can now share that knowledge with you instead. And I do actually get to use it. It's just not as much as I thought I was going to use it when I was learning it. I thought it was the most important thing, right? But something that really has bitten me in the ass a few times at this point is that when I do code reviews, I'm either not thorough enough. I don't actually go really in depth on the code reviews, and I don't. Sometimes it has been in the past tricky to get a good holistic picture and develop my own method for making sure that I actually really understand what the person is doing with that code. It took me quite some time. It's almost, I suppose, a good analogy that I can use for this is that I felt like I had been going to the gym and doing all upper body work and forgotten about my legs. So when I realized that, damn, I need to actually work on this, it felt like there was a disproportionate amount of time that I needed to invest in order to get up to sort of the same strength level when it comes to reviewing other people's code. So that is, I think, the main thing that I would change if I went back and did it again. And I highly encourage you to do the same sort of thing, because you will very likely find yourself focusing quite a lot on your own code, and that is very natural, because in the beginning of things, the most important thing is your own coding, because you're just trying to figure out how to write the code yourself, right? But at some point, you're going to progress to a point where you understand your own code. And I mean, if you want to try yourself out, then go back to one of your old projects and see if you remember what you were doing and how that's all supposed to fit together. You should cringe a little bit when you do that. That's healthy. It's healthy to look back and be a little bit embarrassed over how shitty the code was. And I promise you, that never goes away. Just a little while later, like a few years from now, you're going to look back on what you're doing today and you're kind of going to go, well, it's not horrible necessarily, but it's not good. It's not my best work, because that's the way it goes, right? You get better and better and look back and realize that, damn, I was really shit, even though I thought I was awesome. And while you're progressing through here, this is the advice that I want to give you, basically. Remember that when at some point it stops being about just how well you write code. It becomes equally important for you to understand other people's code, because when you understand how other people write code, then you can give them constructive feedback, and that is a very important part of being a senior developer or becoming a senior developer. Because the thing that you will realize, you're not there today maybe, but you will realize that it's not just about you. If you want a successful project, you can't think that just because you know all the answers, that everybody else knows all the answers, and you can't believe or act in a way where you think that people are just going to get on board if you tell them to do something. You need to really understand other people, and you need to understand the logic that they are applying, so that you can help guide them in a better direction if they're doing something that kind of looks weird. And in order for you to be able to do that, you need to understand how they're thinking or how their logic works. And it also is very useful for you, because you might be, if you did it like me, and you kind of skip this, you might actually lose out on a lot of personal learning if you don't take code reviews and reading other people's code as seriously. So what I want you to take away from this is that if I could go back and do it all over again, I would pretty much spend more time reading other people's code. And I mean, really read it, like really try to understand it just as well as if I were to understand it myself. The mental handicap that I imposed on myself was that I kind of just, you do this thing and I do this thing, you do it sometimes as well. You start skimming, you see, oh, you kind of read it and then you kind of go, oh yeah, I kind of understand what this is doing, and then you just kind of skim through because you kind of know what it's doing, and then all of a sudden you're skipping more than you're actually reading. Everybody does this at some point. And I urge you, don't make that mistake, because I made that mistake and it has hurt my personal learning and my ability to help other people. And I've had to, as I was saying, it's like neglecting a muscle in the gym. I've had to train that muscle even harder and really focus on it to get it back up to the same sort of level I have with other skills. It's just a piece of advice. Have a great day.